Now attention to Zimbabwe now. This is morning news today, and the country is on tenterhooks this morning. They'll know soon whether Emmerson Mnangagwa will retain the presidency. It's all up to the Constitutional Court to make that ruling. The main opposition MDC alliance is challenging the poll results, so you'll remember that. Well, let's discuss this further as I take you live now to Pretoria. Professor Everisto Benyera from Unisa's Political Science Unit is waiting to talk to us. Professor, good morning to you, and thank you. Just remind us again here, what is exactly at stake?
Thank you and good morning to the viewers. What is at stake here for the MDC is a chance to be in power for the first time since their formation in 2000. And for ZANU-PF, what is at stake here is their very lives, given the history in which they got into ZANU-PF office and eventually into national office in November 2017. So for Emmerson Mnangagwa and his party, the way in which they got into power pushes them to a point where surely they cannot afford to lose, because the manner in which they were backed by the military in removing Robert Mugabe for some is tantamount to treasonous, and that in its own pitches the stakes very high for Emmerson Mnangagwa and his camp. So for him, it's a matter of life and death.
How much credence are you lending to the MDC assertion that there was a massive cover-up? And I think that was the phrase that it used.
The MDC alliance had a very good case, which in my view was poorly put together. I will mention a very few cases that I observed. There were a lot of avoidable technical errors. For example, the respondents were 25, and of those 25 respondents, only 7 were correctly cited. The rest were wrongly cited, including the chief respondent, Emmerson Mnangagwa, whose name was repeatedly misspelled as Emmerson Mnangagwa. And then this then creates a number of challenges in that such a groundbreaking document must be seen to be beyond reproach. Even names such as my own name, although I was not one of the respondents, Everisto Chikanga's name was wrongly written as Evaristo instead of Everisto. So we expected a certain level of thoroughness. However, beyond these technical issues, there were also major issues which, in my view, weighed heavily against the MDC alliance's case. They did not have the primary evidence in the form of the V11 and V23 forms. Without those forms in hand, they could therefore not present the bench with primary evidence from which they could have made such a serious decision whether to order a rerun, whether to grant Comrade Chamisa what he wanted. So
right.
In my view, while the case was very strong, it is the manner in which it was put across which weighed heavily against it.
All right, let's look at the likely scenarios then that could emerge from this court ruling. So what happens if ZANU-PF loses?
If ZANU-PF loses, it's either the Constitutional Court will order a rerun which must occur within 60 days, or if ZANU-PF loses, it also does not have a chance because the finding of the bench is final. So we expect the bench to announce a winner, to announce a rerun, or even to announce a recount. However, and in my view, this is just speculation on my part, I am not convinced that the judge will go by the complainant's case. Let us remind ourselves here, 2008, Morgan Tsvangirai versus Robert Mugabe. The judgment was such that the court made a ruling that it moves from a presumptuous point that the results which were announced by ZEC were correct. So the onus and the burden of proof is on the MDC alliance to convince the bench otherwise. This, in my view, did not happen.
Right, we are going to leave it there. Live in Pretoria for Morning News today, Professor Everisto Benyera from Unisa's Political Science Unit. Thank you very much indeed for the clarity. We should be live in Harare to my colleague Eldrin Sampier a little later on this morning, and regular live and updated coverage on the channel throughout the course of the day. As he was mentioning, this is an important story.